All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to tell all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as we are simply sharing our passion with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. You know that we are your go-to on YouTube for Dallas Cowboys coverage throughout the NFL season, as well as any and all Dallas Cowboys coverage. You know that we give it to you with the real and the raw. The 2024 Dallas Cowboys Week 7 loss on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. Jump right into these numbers. 24-30 loss, I might add. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 25 of 38 attempts, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. We'll dissect those numbers. Ezekiel Elliott, 10 carries, 34 yards. Dalvin Cook, just promoted from the practice squad, 6 carries, 12 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 13 catches, 146 yards. Jalen Tolbert, 3 catches and 44 yards. And CeeDee Lamb had 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side, Eric Kendricks, 9 total tackles, 4 solo. Amani, and I can't even pronounce his last name, the defensive back, 8 total tackles, 6 solo. DeMarvin Overshown, 8 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. Jordan Lewis, 7 total tackles, 3 solo. Malik Hooker, 6 total tackles, 3 solo. Trevon Diggs, 5 total tackles, 4 solo. Chauncey Golston, 5 total tackles, 3 solo. Donovan Wilson, 5 total tackles, 2 solo. Carl Lawson, 3 total tackles, 2 solo. Mozzie Smith, 3 total tackles, 1 solo. Linval Joseph, 3 total tackles. And Maris Leofau, 2 total tackles, 2 solo. And we're throwing Osa Odighizuwa, 2 total tackles, 1 solo. All right. You know that we do not gloss over wins, nor do we overact to losses. But ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys continue to reveal themselves, at least the 2024 version. Folks, where do we begin? We will give the Cowboys credit. The Cowboys, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, was leading going into halftime. The Cowboys were up 10-6. Played a very tight, competitive game. We had an issue with them not scoring in the first quarter, kind of wasting time in the first quarter. The Cowboys then scored an Ezekiel Elliott touchdown and held the San Francisco 49ers to 2 field goals. So the Cowboys played well, had a lot of momentum going into halftime. We wish there was some other sequences where the Cowboys, they should have added more points, at least gotten like another field goal to really put the hammer on San Francisco. And where the game fell apart was in the third quarter. Now, in the third quarter, I don't know, with the new kickoff rules, we don't know what the Cowboys are trying to do. Maybe trying to pin the 49ers back to make them drive the length of the field or a longer drive. However, all-world kicker Brandon Aubrey decides to try whatever little pooch kick, and the ball did not land at the 20-yard line. And because of the penalty, the ball was moved out to the 40-yard line. So the San Francisco 49ers, off the gate, coming out of the half, have now just received the ball at the 40-yard line, and pretty much it was from that point on where the wheels came off. Now, we have our criticisms, and we're going to start dishing them out evenly. Just bear with us. But that right there pretty much started a 21-0 third quarter. Folks, you heard that correctly. The Dallas Cowboys surrendered 21 points in the third quarter and scored 0. And if my memory serves correctly, when you break down the Cowboys' offensive numbers in the third quarter, the Cowboys had 21 total yards of offense in the third quarter. Now, let's start passing some of this blame here, shall we? Donovan Wilson. Even though we read his statistics, folks, did anybody see how badly he was abused by George Kittle? Almost beaten on the same route. And before we continue, we definitely want to give a shout out to great friends of ours, great friends of the program, great supporters of the program, Lee and BJ. We had a great time, us just chopping it up and watching the game and everything, and just, and three good brothers just chilling. So that definitely meant the world to us. And gentlemen, we must do this again, or at least try to do it, once a year as kind of a tradition. Our other little brother, Sherrod, we definitely like for you to join us. So definitely good to do it. And I definitely had a great time. So I definitely want to put that out there. But continuing on with our coverage of the game. Donovan Wilson. Folks, it about time that we bench Donovan Wilson. Because if you take away his 2022 campaign where he played very well, he played awful in 2023 and is regressing even worse in 2024. Don't know if his new scheme. I don't know what the problem is. But he's not playing well. The man was getting his ass torched by George Kittle. And I was talking about George Kittle was running circles around Donovan Wilson, running basically the same route on Donovan Wilson, and the man totally looked out of place. Folks, I've seen enough. Our safety play on top of bad running back play, mediocre quarterback play, mediocre line play, safety play have been awful. And considering you're playing second and third stringers for your cornerbacks, that's when we need safety play to step up. And he has been awful. And why? I go back to 2004, Rodney Harrison, the New England Patriots, lost Ty Law, lost Tyrone Poole. They were playing a young Asante Samuel as a rookie. I believe Randall Gay was the other rookie cornerback, and Rodney Harrison kept that secondary together. Folks, both safeties and Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker asses need to be benched. It's that simple. I have seen everything I needed to see. This is not working out. Now, we understand that the Dallas Cowboys are missing Micah Parsons. We understand that the Dallas Cowboys are missing DeMarcus Lawrence. We understand the Dallas Cowboys are missing Sam Williams, the other backup defensive end. We understand the Cowboys are missing Marshawn Nealon. We totally understand that. But this is the NFL. And you know how we feel about the NFL pro athletes and how hard it is to even make the NFL. So we understand that. So we're not trying to minimize these guys' skill set. We're talking about just in the realm of being a professional athlete. Dallas Cowboys, especially on the defensive side, this is your opportunity to make a name for yourself. This is an opportunity where you have starters who are out and been out for long periods of time. And folks, did the Cowboys generate any kind of pass rush in Sunday night's game? No, they did not. No pass rush. The lone sack that the Dallas Cowboys had was on a blitz. What strength of the Cowboys is supposed to be their pass rush, their only sack came late in the fourth quarter on a perfectly timed blitz and a perfectly called blitz. You also read the numbers. The Dallas Cowboys had one, I'm going to say this again, one tackle for a loss. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. Where else do we dump some of this blame? Dak Prescott. Okay. Listen to us at Chin Check Sports Radio. We said it in the offseason. We do not feel comfortable paying Dak Prescott top dollar because we have not gotten top level production. We've been said this. The Cowboys waited, gave Dak all his money. Ladies and gentlemen, is Dak Prescott regressing? Is it really time to have a conversation? Because according to the numbers that they broke down, his multiple interceptions, let me say this again, multiple interceptions, I believe in 3 games, was something similar that happened in 1992. Now, before other idiotic and imbecile Cowboys fans start celebrating and say, well, you see, that year, Chin Check, we won a Super Bowl in 92. The Cowboys had Troy Aikman. They had Emmitt Smith. Now, go take a look at Emmitt Smith, who wasn't even in his prime yet, or just hitting his prime, and the running back room that we have now. You had Michael Irvin, okay, him and CeeDee Lamb. However, with CeeDee Lamb and his immaturity issues, I also have an issue with that. And by the way, those 92 Cowboys was the number 1 ranked defense. A lot of people forget that. The 92 Cowboys under Dave Wannstedt was the number 1 ranked defense in football for all of the offensive players who get all of the shine and get all of the spotlight. Again, the triplets. But that defense with Ken Norton, Charles Haley, Tony Tolbert, that defense was ranked number 1. Folks, this Cowboys defense is next to last in every statistical category. So before any dumb Cowboys fans say, well, in 92, they were able to get it together and they won the Super Bowl. Folks, that's not happening. Also, been reading reports that the Dallas Cowboys are 3-4, the same way they were in 2018, and that they traded for Amari Cooper. And, the Cowboys kind of salvaged the season. The Cowboys finished up 7-2 by going 10-6 and actually winning the NFC East. Folks, what trades are going to be made right now that's going to make the Cowboys instantly better? Don't know, because they had a chance to get a running back, and we'll get to that in a second. You don't have any of the weapons for CD, so you're going to have somebody opposite CD, and we just quite frankly don't see it. What trade are you going to make for a star defensive player to actually take over games? Is not going to happen. So I know people are trying to find some silver lining in this by saying, again, we were at the same part in 2018, and the Dallas Cowboys traded for Amari Cooper, and look what that did to the team. I don't know what trades can be made to build the team because the team is in serious need of everything. And in 2018, what ended up happening was Jerry Jones thought he can do the wide receiver by committee approach and backfired in his face. That's why he went and traded for Amari Cooper. See, remember, they had Dez Bryant. They released Dez Bryant in April. And they stated that they can just kind of go by wide receiver by committee and fail miserably. They finally got themselves a number one receiver, and that's why the team took off. And you still had an Ezekiel Elliott in his second year, a damn good offensive line. You have an older Ezekiel Elliott, a young offensive line that's still going through growing pains, and just CeeDee Lamb. So it's not even the same before Cowboys fans even start. Jerry Jones. While the Cowboys didn't draft a running back in this draft this year, and they opted to bring back an older Ezekiel Elliott, the San Francisco 49ers drafted a running back in Isaac Guerendo, who is probably their third string running back, and after last night, probably be their second string running back. 14 carries for 85 yards, 6.1 yards a carry, and 1 touchdown, and I believe ran a 4.3 or 4.4 40-yard dash out of Louisville. So again, the San Francisco 49ers, who went to the NFC Championship game and who went to the Super Bowl, and the Dallas Cowboys, who got waxed in the wildcard game at home, didn't feel that it was a need for a running back, because keep in mind, you released Tony Pollard, you had nothing there, and your poor scouting department couldn't scout this guy. But the 49ers, who went to the Super Bowl, always looking for ways to get better, drafted this guy running a 4.3 40 and runs pretty powerful as well. But the Cowboys are bringing back Ezekiel Elliott. Don't sign Derrick Henry, and this is where we are now. Also, the 30-24 score, folks, we're not going to be fooled by this. The game was out of reach. This is typical Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Fall behind big, make something of a miraculous comeback, give people hope, and say, well, the game was very competitive. No, it was not. And even when it mattered most, when Dak Prescott had the ball with a chance to win the game, on 4 straight downs, the man cannot even pick up a single yard. We don't know why. You saw Brock Purdy run the football. We don't see Dak Prescott run the football. So we don't know where the team goes from here. We have no idea how they right the ship. Oh, and by the way, this was a San Francisco 49ers team without Brandon Ayuk, without Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel just coming off of an illness, no Jawan Jennings, no Hufanga, and this is where they are now. So we don't know where the Cowboys go from here. They're going to be on the road in Atlanta. It's going to be a 1 o'clock game, still deciding whether we're going or not. And the Cowboys right now are in disarray. And the Cowboys' next couple games, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, are the Falcons, who lead their division, the Texans, who lead their division, the Commanders, and the Eagles. This can go off the rails very quickly. If this was a game the Cowboys should have had in the bag to help salvage the season, this is it. If the Cowboys lose against Atlanta, we can pretty much start getting the nails ready for them. And pretty soon it's going to be the hammer next, because the schedule, it does not get any easier. And it's going to be a critical stretch of games that the Cowboys are going to need. So we're going to see what happens. I mean, this thing can get ugly. But definitely thanks again for joining us. It's Chin Check Sports Radio, signing out.